And today I thought we would go over some of the fantasy and sci-fi releases coming out in the month of March. Now if I sound a bit weird, or I'm a little bit lower energy than usual, or I can't speak just like that, I've kind of got a cold, but we're powering through anyway. I've got TBRs to ruin. Can't take a day off. First up, on March 7th, we have The Faithless by C.L. Clarke. This is the sequel to The Unbroken. And because it's a sequel, we will go over the synopsis for Book 1. So if you read Book 1, you'll know if you want to read Book 2 or not. Toraine is a soldier, stolen as a child and raised to kill and die for the Empire. Her only loyalty is to her fellow conscripts. But now, her company has been sent back to her homeland to stop a rebellion, and the ties of blood may be stronger than she thought. Also coming on March 7th, we have a new Star Wars book, Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars. This is a standalone adventure that takes place between the two Star Wars... I need this cold medicine to kick in, please. That is set between the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order game and the new Star Wars Jedi Survivor game. This doesn't actually say if you need to have played Jedi Fallen Order first, but I assume seeing as they're calling it a standalone that you don't have to. But I know the Star Wars books are super popular, so I thought I would drop in here either way. Next up, I'm not 100% sure if this is a brand new release or if it's just a bind up, but we have the Beserk Deluxe Edition Volume 13, which is coming out on March 9th. I know Beserk is super popular, so I thought I would also just include this. I'm not sure if the individual manga volumes are already out and this is just a bind up of the last however many are in it. I've actually not read any manga in the past, so I'm very tempted to just pick up this as like my first one. Is that a mistake? Please let me know. I was thinking I could do like a reading vlog of me picking up the first bind up of Beserk, so let me know if that's something you'd be interested in seeing. Next up, on March 14th, we have The Memory Eater by Rebecca Mahoney. For generations, a monster called the Memory Eater has lived in the caves of Whistler Beach, Maine, surviving off the unhappy memories of those who want to forget. And for generations, the Harlows have been in charge of keeping her locked up and keeping her fed. Now the Memory Eater is loose. Alana's mistake could cost Whistler Beach everything, unless she can figure out how to retrieve her own memories and recapture the monster. But as Alana delves deeper into her family's magic and the history of her town, she discovers a shocking secret at the center of the Harlow family business, and learns that tampering with memories never comes without a price. I hadn't heard of this author, and also it's a YA, so it's not normally the type of thing that I would want to read, but I thought this one sounded really interesting. It sounds like quite a heavy read, but I think it was really good. Next up, we have The Lies of Ajungo. The Lies of Ajungo follows one boy's epic quest to bring water back to his city and save his mother's life. Prepare to enter the forever desert. They say there is no water in the city of lies. They say there are no heroes in the city of lies. They say there are no friends beyond the city of lies. But would you believe what they say in the city of lies? This is just a fantasy novella. It's not a full novel, but it sounds like it's going to be the start of a bigger series. And I am a sucker for adult fantasy that takes place in like a desert setting. So keep your eye out for that, March 21st. And on March 14th, we have A Midnight Strikes by Zeba Shanaz. In this explosive fantasy debut with a time loop twist, a provincial girl must work with a roguish prince to stop an attack on the royal family and escape a nightmarish curse that forces them to relive the same night again and again. It was the time loop twist that really caught me with this one. I thought that sounded really interesting. It's not really something you see very often. Groundhog Day fantasy. I'm up for it. And on March 14th, we have Midnight Strikes. Nah, I'm just kidding. I got you though. Yeah, I got you. It's just time loop. Okay, I'll keep going. Coming out on March 16th, we have the sequel to Mickey 7, called Antimatter Blues. This series is getting adapted by one of my favourite directors of all time, Bong Joon-ho, who also did Parasite and Memories of Murder. And the basic premise is this follows a character called Mickey, who is an expendable, which means that they can die and just be regenerated into a new body. So this will follow the 7th Mickey as he goes back into the ice world of Niflheim? I got it right. On a human expedition to colonize the planet. I've heard this compared a lot to Murderbot, which is one of my favorite series of all time, if you haven't been on the channel for more than one video. I'm sure I talk about it in pretty much every video at this point, but this is definitely a series I want to check out soon. And the sequel, Antimatter Blues, is coming out on the 16th of March. Coming out on March 21st, we have Lucha of the Night Forest. I just want to say that that is a really cool name. A scorned god, a mysterious acolyte, a forgetting drug, a dangerous forest, one girl caught between the freedom she always wanted and a sister she can't bear to leave behind. Under the cover of the Night Forest, will Lucha be able to step into her own power, or will she be consumed by it? Also coming on March 21st, we have Flux by Jin Woo Chong, a blazing original and stylish debut about a young man whose reality unravels when he suspects his employers have inadvertently discovered time travel and are covering up a string of violent crimes. This sounds super unique. I've not heard of anything really like this, and it says it's in the vein of William Gibson's Neuromancer and Ling Ma's Severance. I don't know what this month has to do with all these really heavy reads, but it's a month for heavy reads. It does sound really good though. On March 28th, we have A Door in the Dark. One of Us is Lying meets a deadly education in this fantasy thriller that follows 6 teenage wizards as they fight to make it home alive after a malfunctioning spell leaves them stranded in the wilderness. If anyone can get them through the punishing wilderness with limited magical reserves, it's Ren. She's been in survival mode her entire life, but no magic could prepare her for the tangled secrets the rest of the group is harboring, or what's following them through the dark woods. A survival thriller fantasy book? Sign me up. In my recent video where I was talking about creative fantasy books, one of the books I talked about was A Helm of Midnight, which is about like a serial killer in a fantasy setting, and I got lots of comments about other fantasy thriller type books, and it's a subgenre I really want to delve more into, so if you're looking for more of that, A Door in the Dark, coming March 28th. Also coming on March 28th, we have A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. A haunting Southern Gothic from an award-winning master of suspense, A House with Good Bones explores the dark and twisted roots lurking just beneath the veneer of a perfect home and family. I didn't do this, I didn't line these up, they're just in publication order, so the fact that the next one is also a suspense mystery fantasy, that's like the theme of this month clearly. That and grief, there's a lot of grief in this month as well. It's a heavy month. But T. Kingfisher was also the one who did Nettle and Bone, highly acclaimed, so if you're looking for some more mystery fantasy, House of Good Bones. And to top off all of these mystery, thriller type fantasy and sci-fi books, we have a sci-fi mystery novella from Arkady Martin, the author who brought us A Memory Called Empire. The novella is coming March 30th and is called Rose House. There are only 1,000 physical copies being released by Subterranean Press, but you should be able to pick up an ebook. A house embedded with artificial intelligence is a common thing. A house that is an artificial intelligence infused in every load-bearing beam and fine marble tile with a thinking creature that is not human? That is something else altogether. But now Denayu's been dead a year and the Rose House is locked up tight, as commanded by the architect's will. All his possessions and files and sketches are confined in its archives, and their only keeper is the Rose House itself. Rose House and one other. The tags for this are science fiction, mystery, novella and horror, so I think this one will be quite dark and... But with how well A Memory of Empire and the sequel A Desolation Called Peace was received, I might have to give this one a try. And that was all the March sci-fi and fantasy releases that I thought were of interest. I probably missed a couple that I thought were interesting, but for the most part, March. Is there any I missed that you're excited for? Let me know in the comments, and let me know if you're planning on picking up any of these. I'm gonna go lie down now and take more drugs. Bye!